Yo, what's really good, Gramo family? It's your man Gramo J here, coming at y'all with this video, and this is going to be a long video, so I just want to give y'all a warning. But it's a video, it's a motivational type video, but it's also a realistic, transparent video. So for those that care to know what this video is on, it's on finances, it's on discipline, it's on income, it's on finances. A financial type video, but it's definitely a must watch. So please stay tuned. I'm gonna try to give y'all some timestamps for those that only want to hear or see certain things, but this is off the top. So please forgive me if I rant on certain topics, but without any further ado, let's get into the video. So first thing I want to say, 1 year, just 1 year, your life can change. 1 year, you can do a whole 360. So don't get stuck in this mind frame, or don't get stuck in this rut where you feel like, yo, my life is going to forever be a certain way. 1 year, your life can change. It's all about your habits. It's all about self-discipline. It's all about control. It's all about replacing bad habits with good habits. It's all about writing down your goals, figuring out what it is that you want for yourself, and developing a why strong enough, a reason strong enough to keep you from giving up. It's not just motivation you need. You need a reason. You need a why, because my reason and my why will never be a strong enough reason or why for you to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So that's what I want to start this video with. Gems. So y'all know in 2020, I went through the breakup. After the breakup, I went through a very deep depression. I went through I went through like a crisis, and as I climbed up out of that depression and that crisis, I started to write down and figure out, yo, Jay, what it is that you want for yourself. Is you going down, like, I wasn't going down a path towards destruction, but I was going down a path towards being content, and towards a path towards a path of comfort, and towards a path that was not going to bring about the best results for myself. It wasn't going to be inherently negative or a bad life for me, but it was going to be a life towards going through the same cycles over and over and over again, or living a certain life that would have been similar to the life that I grew up in, that I so desperately didn't want to live. So as I began to climb out of that whole depression and climb out of that crisis that I was going through in my brain, I started asking myself, what is it that you want for yourself? What is it that you don't want? What is it that you want to accomplish? What are things that you want to change? And it was so many things that I wanted to change, from managing my emotions, learning how to manage my emotions, learning how to speak up for myself, learning how to communicate verbally, and learning how to express myself in a very mature manner, not in an immature manner. And financials was one of the biggest things that I really, 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 really wanted to change. I didn't have zero control over my finances coming into trucking. I didn't know much about finances. I didn't care much about it. I just knew I wanted to make money. And I knew I wanted to make money to pay off debt. So this is where my journey began. 2020, like I said, it changed me. I'm not even the same person I was in 2020. And that's a good thing, and I'm headed towards a positive direction. So this isn't a video to brag or anything like that. It's just a video to be very transparent and to be honest and show y'all, like, you don't always have to be the same person. You don't always have to hold on to those same habits, and you could change everything one by one. You just got to figure out what it is that you want and come up with some goals, write it down and stuff like that. So in 2021, I managed to pay off a total of $27,806.10. I still have $5,664.04 left to go in that student loans, and I'm just happy. I'm proud of myself. I pat myself on the back, and because it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of sacrifice, it takes a lot of telling people no, it takes a lot of thinking long term, and not being able to go after instant gratification, not being able to just do certain things. Granted, you don't have to I wasn't living a life where I felt like, dang, I can't do nothing. But I was definitely living a life where I was like, I can't do that because this is where I want to go. And this is my why, and this is my reason. And it's strong enough to keep me from even doing certain things or going after certain things. So that was the mental change for it. That's the end of the spectrum. When you create your goals, you gotta definitely believe in them. You gotta definitely speak it to existence. Write it down, and when you write it down, break it down into pieces on how you could get closer to that. So when I said, okay, one of my goals is to be financially have financial freedom or be debt free, I was like, what do financially free do? What do debt free people do? And I figured out, okay, I gotta pay off debt, obviously. So how do I pay off debt? Okay, I gotta cut expenses here, 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 here. I gotta use this money, put it towards that. I gotta stop spending money on that. I gotta calm down on that. And I just came up with little bite-sized pieces that I can digest so that I can get closer to my goal. So that was what I did on the mental end of the spectrum. Now on the physical end on the spectrum where you gotta put in that work, because nothing just gonna fall in your lap. You can't just speak into existence and expect it to just manifest in front of you physically. So I came up with a goal. When I dropped out of college, I had about $21,000 worth of debt. When I started trucking, I paid down some of it, but I had $17,000 worth of debt, like 17,600 something worth of debt in the beginning of January 2021. And my original goal was to be debt free by December 2021. But a wrench got thrown in the game when I got into that accident with my Charger that totaled out my car. And I ended up deciding to take on a car note instead of buying a cash car. Now, this accident happened in July 2021. August 2021, I had a car note. I financed my car. And why I financed the car is because I was thinking long term. I was like, yo, I could get a car note. I could get a car that's going to be more reliable than what a cash car would be, that I won't have to put too much money into in the beginning. And I can use this car for the next 5, 10, 15 years. People laughed at me. People was like, oh, you went from a Charger, you went from a sports car to a Honda woman car. I'm like, so? Like, I'm just trying to get back and forth from work. Back and forth from home to work. Like, I don't care about what y'all think. I don't care. Like, people was just, their mind was just so blown that I went from a Charger to a Honda. And I was just like, I don't care. Like, while you go after buying things because of what people going to think, I'm going to be over here with my Honda, putting on some miles on my Honda, having more money in my pocket, because Chargers and sports cars definitely run your pockets with that gas. Like, don't let people fool y'all and make y'all think, oh, I'm going to get this car. Like, yeah, commuting 25 miles to work and 25 miles back, that's a lot of miles on a car. And with a sports car, you just burning gas, burning gas, burning gas. So I did what was smart for me. I did what was for me. I did what was going to work for me. And I looked up Hondas and found out Hondas was reliable cars as far as putting miles on, and I got me a Honda. So my goal immediately switched from paying off my debt to paying off my car. Why? Because I said, God forbid, if anything ever happened where I can't work or where money not coming in how I want it to come in, or it's not flowing a certain type of way, if I pay off my car, they can't come take my car from me. So I was like, my student loans can go into forbearance or deferment or whatever the case may be. My student loan payment isn't that high, but nothing bad, too much bad won't happen to me with my student loans. Like, if I pay all this money towards this car and then I get it taken, like, I literally have nothing. So I was like, I'm going to just pay off my car. So I aggressively started paying off my car. But how I really paid off the debt per se is, all right, I'm going to be honest with y'all. $7,000 of that debt came from Prime. I held on to $7,000 from Prime when I quit. I quit Prime November 2020, I think. So from November 2020 until November 2021, I held on to $7,000. This was before I knew anything about money. I just started learning about money. I had to reprogram my mind on how I think about money. I didn't know nothing about inflation, investments, none of that. So I held on to $7,000 from November 2020 to November 2021, and then I finally let it go. I said, you know what? Put it towards your car. It's just sitting in an account. You don't have a reason for it. So I put down $7,000 on my car, and I still had money left to pay off Wells Fargo for financing my loan. So I aggressively paid off my car. When I applied to my current company, I saw my projected income was my projected income was going to be 60 to 65K gross. I done surpassed that, by the way, and also I'm gonna put a screenshot, or actually I'm gonna put a video in the description below that tells y'all what my goal was to make as my first year as a local driver, and I surpassed that too. Like, counting is just, been good to me, but that's a video to come later. But they said my projected salary would be 60 to 65K gross. So I said I'm gonna take the low end, which is 60K gross, because my first year at Cowan, I felt like was going to be my learning year. I felt like was going to be the year that I actually figure out the company and how things work. That way, that next year that I work there, I can optimize my income because I know the ins and outs of things and how things pretty much pan out. So I said half of 60K is 30K. I'm gonna live off 30K nets after taxes. I'm gonna live off of 30K after taxes, which is $2,500 a month. And I've been living like that since January. It's now December 2021. So for a whole year, I've been living like that. And I get myself $2,500 a month after taxes, and that's for all of my expenses. All of my expenses. Anything above that, it gets sent off to another account. It sits in that account until the end of the month. At the end of the month, I split all of that money up, and then I send it off to where it needs to be. Just that simple. Budgeting every single month, a unique budget for every single month. I know my mother's birthday is in October every year. As long as my mom is going to be on this earth, her birthday will be October 13th of every single year on the year. So that means I have all of these months to plan for, to buy gifts. I know Christmas or any holiday that I celebrate, I know those come every year on the year. So that means I'm preparing months before that. These things aren't surprises. So I just hate when people be like, oh, well, we got birthdays and holidays and stuff like that. What about that? What about that? Prepare for it. That's what it's called, preparation. And that's all I've done up until this point was make sure that I'm preparing for these and making sure that I'm creating a unique budget because my mom's birthday isn't every month, but my mom's birthday is October. So I know October budget got my mom birthday in there for the 2,500. And every month, anything above 2,500, that doesn't always go towards that. The whole thing. Some of it does. Half of it could go towards that. A quarter of it could go towards that. It all depends on what I'm feeling like for one, and it all depends on what's going on, what I have going on. So anything above 2,500, a fourth of it could go towards that. Half of it could go towards that. 3/4 of it could go towards that. But I could give y'all an example. 1 month I had $2,437.04 above 2,500. Half of that went towards debt. A fourth of it went towards my investments. An eighth of it went towards a car. Now this month, this was April 2021. Around this time, I still had my Charger, and my plans was to save up money to buy me a cash car. But this was before the accident and everything. So this month, I saved $304.63. This was for me to have money towards buying myself another car because my Charger was just acting so crazy. It was a '06. So that was my plans. But, the accident and threw a wrench in the game. And, some of that money ended up going towards, the car note and stuff like that. So in April, I also gave myself $152.31. And I gave my dad $152.31. So that's an example of how I split up my money. Another thing is like I sacrifice, y'all. Temptation is a mug. I had moments where I wanted to go out, where I wanted to spend and buy things and buy clothes and sneakers and get this and get that, but I sacrificed. I slept on purchases. Like, I wanted a game system, and I could have afforded a game system at any given moment. Any month, I could have been like, yo, I'm about to go buy me a game system. But I say my why and my reasoning is so strong that I don't even want to go buy the game system. And I didn't lose out on any sleep. I didn't miss no sleep. I didn't get sick because I didn't have a game system. I just was like, I'm going to just wait on it. So I just created myself a wants list of things that I wanted. And I just would add it to the list. And I would just sleep on the purchases and be like, okay, when I get to a point when I can buy it, I'm going to buy it. When I can really buy it, I'm going to buy it. So being as though I paid off all that debt, I said, finally, it's time for me to treat myself. And I treated myself to my game system. That was all I wanted. Was to treat myself to something. So from time to time, you can treat yourself to something, but make sure that your priorities go first and then your wants come second. You don't have to live this miserable life that people like. You got to sacrifice in the beginning so later you could live the life that you want. And that was my mind frame from the beginning until now. That was my mind frame from the beginning of the year until now, and it's still my mind frame. So I have a part 2 coming to this video because this video is getting very long. This is just like a synopsis of how dedication, self-discipline, self-control, and knowing what it is that you want can go a very long way. Part 2 will explain more of why I picked such a low threshold and more of how I did what it was that I did from a mental standpoint and what I will continue on doing. So if y'all like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, give me some feedback. I like communicating with my subscribers. I love talking with y'all. Follow me on Instagram at _GrimoJ_. And let's get to it. It's almost the end of the year, coming up on 2022 fast. And if you weren't able to accomplish any of your goals, whether it was physical, mental, spiritual, financial, any of those goals for 2021, go ahead and write them down and get ready for 2022, because that year is coming and time waits on nobody, and time will continue to go on and flow. Time will continue to go on whether you remain stagnant or whether you develop yourself. So it's always best to pick what will be best for you. I will see y'all next video.